Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Johnson. If you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe, drop your comment in the comment section below. And to my returning subscribers, I really want to appreciate you guys for your support and everything. Thank you. So today I want to talk about 10 things I wish I did differently in the preclinics. Now you will know that in medical school, information is very vital and key in your success. And so I want to share some of the things that I wish I knew, and I believe and I hope that it will be able to help someone out there. So first, one of the things on my list is, if I had known, I would have studied smarter and not just harder. Now, during my stay in preclinics, I did so much of crash work. I allowed materials to accumulate, topics to accumulate, and then when it's time for tests, then I begin to go to school, read all night, sleep in school, and all that. And that wasn't smart work; that was just hard work. And if I had known, I would have read every topic at the end of the lectures. I would have been able to memorize every past questions. I would have done self-repetition. You get, and those are the things that I wasn't able to do. I just waited until it's time for test, and then I'm off to school, reading, burning the midnight candle, and that wasn't smart work at all. Smart work entails that you do not allow your courses to pile up. So at the end of every lecture, you try as much as possible to see that you read, you memorize. If there are past questions, you go through, and you are able to source other materials too. And if I've done those things, I would have been far more better than what I used to be then. So second on my list is that I would have established a consistent study schedule. So I've heard a lot of people say that timetable in medical school does not work. Well, I did not use timetable in preclinics, which I think it was which I wish I did. Now there's one thing about study timetable. When you have a study timetable, it will be able to guide you on it will be able to guide and give you direction on what and where to read. Now I know that in medical school, when you get to medical school, especially when you start your medical courses properly, your second year, most of the time you might not actually be able to follow your timetable as the way you planned it, but having a timetable will be able to give you a guide. It will be able to somehow you will know where you're heading to. You will know where you're supposed to read. It's a guide actually. Now my advice to preclinical students, or if you're a preclinical student and you're watching this, please have a timetable and try as much as possible to at least follow it. Now you might not really be so consistent with it, which is normal. There are times that you get a lot of things from school. Some of the courses you might not be able to even read it entirely the whole day, you get, but at least it gives you a guide, it keeps you on track. You'll be able to monitor your reading activities and schedule. So the third thing I would have done differently is that I would have sourced for resources outside the lectures. Now I was back then in preclinics, I depended so much on what the lecturer gave in class, and that is not sufficient, to be honest. If you really want to have in-depth knowledge of what you're doing, all the courses you're doing, you must try as much as possible to go outside the resources the lecturer is giving you. You can go on YouTube, you can watch videos, you can read textbook, you can read other materials too. Though I know that I did a little of videos, but then I didn't put so much effort in it. If I had done that differently, I think I would have been so much better in preclinics than the way I was. So my advice to you, if you're a preclinical student, don't depend on your lecturer's slide or materials alone. Try to source other resources outside. Watch videos online, read textbook, try as much as possible to gather all that you need. If I had known, I would have associated myself, or I would have joined a study group. Now this was one of the things that I never did in preclinics, although at some point I tried to join one, but I wasn't too serious about it, and that was how I let go. Now study groups are very, very important in the sense that, one, you are in the midst of your friends. There is this you get encouraged even when you don't feel like reading. You see your friend reading, by the time you see 2 or 3 of your friends reading, somehow you will be challenged to read. That's just it. Some people say some people say study group don't work for me and all that. Well, to be honest, study group does not work for everyone. But if you're that kind of person that you feel that study group will not work for you, then you must be someone that will put extra effort. Because in the place of study group, what most people do is you share topics and they read and you come to teach yourself. Now you might not be able to have time to go through all that the lecturer must have said, probably a topic or so, but someone that's ready might just move the stuff for you, might just tell you, and that might be the thing that would save you in your test or exam. So I would strongly advise that you get a study group, join a study group, or create one, and ensure you actively participate, because it has a way of making things stick in your memory. I would have done timely review of past materials. Now in medical school, past materials are really, 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 really important. I don't really overemphasize the need for past questions. Most of these lecturers were the same people that took those ahead of you, that took your seniors and all that, and they do not have, most of them do not have the luxury of time to start synthesizing new questions. They will just want to go to their question bank and get questions from there, and then set questions and give it out for you to write. Or even if they don't do that, at least when you go through past questions, it somehow gives you an idea on how the department set questions, or on how the lecturer sets questions. So past questions are really, 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 really very important. Source them as much as you can, get them, study them. Even if they don't come out, it gives you a guide. You'll be able to know how to channel your reading when you come to read. So past questions are very, very needful and essential in medical school. I would have asked a lot of questions from senior colleagues. I was someone that was so reserved in preclinics, and maybe that was, and I would say that it's really not the best, because information is key and important in this medical school. I would advise as much as you can, if you can get a senior colleague, someone that is a year ahead of you, you ask questions, you ask a lot of questions, how the department said questions, ask about your lecturers, ask everything that you need to know, so that you'll be able to prepare yourself when it comes to test or exam or anything, because the person that might be taking you, it might be the same person that took your seniors or those ahead of you. And I mean, medical school is just in the sense that the person ahead of you must have gone through what you're currently in, and he should be able to say one or two things concerning that same department or that person. So I think getting a senior colleague as much as possible, you should do it. Unfortunately, I did not do much of that, and I think it affected me, because there are times where we write tests and I discovered that some of my colleagues or some of my classmates that were able to find information, they were able to ask senior colleagues outside, were able to at least had some kind of idea about that topic, which I never did because I never asked questions. So it's very, very important that in medical school you ask questions a lot. Ask your seniors, those ahead of you, ask a lot of questions if you do not understand. Next on my list is I would have paid so much attention to practical sessions. Practical sessions could be so overwhelming and boring at times. And I was someone that, I do not like something that overwhelms me most times, and especially if it gets boring. So I avoided, not really avoided, but I didn't really participate so much in practical sessions, especially dissection. I prefer to just go in there, watch my colleagues dissect while I watch, or sometimes we even gist and make noise. And I think that's not the best, because the more you participate yourself, the more you dissect yourself, you get used to those structures that you can identify easily. My advice to anyone watching this, if you are indeed a preclinical student, pay so much attention into dissection. Ensure that you participate actively in it, because those are the structures that we use during your steeple chase or whatever. And if you're not so conversant with it, you might really, 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 really not. You might find one or two problems, especially during your steeple chase. And again, practical sessions in biochemistry, in physiology, in as much as I think it's boring, I still think you should pay attention to it, because it somehow has a way of making you get used to those things, to the materials and everything. So one of the things that I would have wished I did differently was having a balanced life. I would have loved if I had struck a balance between my academics, my personal life, my political life, and other things. I knew that when I got into medical school, I did so much of studies, books, that I never had time to do any other extracurricular activities. And I think it's somehow not the best, because if you just focus so much in medical school, your books, how about your skills, your hobbies that you really used, that you had before you got into medical school? You might just end up not even practicing again, or not even being used to it again. So I would strongly recommend that you find a balance. If you're someone that plays football, you find a balance between your football and your studies. If you're someone that sings, you find a way to balance the two. If you're someone that does business, politics and all that, find a balance between the two, so one does not suffer at the end of the other. So, and the next thing I did was engage in extracurricular activities. This is very important. You see, at the end of medical school, what people are so much, yes, you'll be a doctor when you finish medical school, but aside from being a doctor, what else do you have? Now, this is what people are so interested about. They are not interested about the number of A's you have. No patient wants to even know how many A's, whether you passed or failed a course in medical school. No, they just, once they see you as a doctor, they know that you have the solution to their problem. Now, aside from that, if you really want to go far, if you really want to soar, you should take your extracurricular activities serious. Now, I'm not speaking as I'm still a student, so I know that there is still a lot that I have to do, but in my preclinics, I never prioritize extracurricular activities. I'm someone that I sing a lot. Like, I used to sing a lot before I got into medical school, but unfortunately, since I got into medical school, I can't even remember the last time I worked on my musical skills. Never. And that's because I paid so much attention to medical activities and my books and all my studies and all that. And I think you should take that as much as possible very, very serious. But currently, I do a lot of things. I do politics, online studies, and all that. But during my preclinics, I think I didn't do any of that, and somehow it has affected me. So find a balance. If you're a footballer, find a way to balance it. Do not just throw away your footballing skills or your whatever, or your singing skills and all that because you're in medical school. No, try as much as possible to strike balance between these two, and I believe you'll do fine. Last thing I would love to say here, one of the things that I wish I did differently was getting a mentor. Getting a mentor. This is very, very important. Get a mentor, someone that will be able to guide you, someone that will be able to tell you this is what to do and this is what not to do. This is very, very important in medical school. And this is because there's a thin line between you passing and failing. It could just be an information that you got from your mentor or from someone that is able to encourage you, someone that is able to keep you on track, someone that will be able to tell you, okay, this is how to go about this department, this is how to go about this same lecturer or this particular lecturer. This is very, very important. And I never had that in my preclinical. It was towards the end of my preclinical that I got a mentor who has been doing a very, very good work. I mean, he has really been mentoring me up to this point. So in as much as we want to be alone, I would strongly recommend that you get a mentor, someone that will listen to you, someone that you'll be able to pour out your heart to, someone that you'll be able to tell him some of your problems and he will be able to give you solutions or even refer you to where you could get a solution. This is very, very important. Mentorship is very, very important in medical school. So I've come to the end of today's video. If you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe, like, drop a comment in the comment section below, and like this video. If you have any questions, drop it in the comment section below. Thank you and have a lovely day. Bye.